Tali Jessup, and I appear for the applicant, Alferna. For the next 9 minutes, I will address the issue of Alferna's continued statehood. My co-agent, Mr. Zlatogorsky, will be speaking for 17 minutes to address Rutej's violations of international law in the processing and treatment of the Alfernan migrants, as well as the illegality of the proposed transfer to Sevi. My co-agent, Jonathan Horvitz, will be speaking for 9 minutes to address Rutej's violations of international law vis-a-vis Alferna's assets, and we reserve 3 minutes for rebuttal. Your Excellencies, according to legend, the island of Atlantis sunk into the ocean, leaving behind no survivors. The Alfernans, however, stand before this court today as survivors, praying for recognition that their statehood has survived as well. Alferna maintains, first and foremost, that its statehood was never lost due to the presumption of continuity during the temporary absence of any of the criteria for statehood. Alternatively, and in any event, Alferna maintains that today it fulfills the Montevideo criteria on Estetima Island. If I may, Your Excellencies, I'd like to proceed to Alferna's first claim. A strong presumption recognized by the most highly qualified publicists, such as Professor James Crawford and Dame Rosalind Higgins, exists in favor of the continuance of an established state. Accordingly, statehood is not lost, automatically or inevitably, upon the loss of any of the criteria for statehood enshrined in Article 1 of the 1933 Montevideo Convention. This presumption can be seen, for example, in the case of Somalia, which has persisted without an effective government for more than 15 years. This presumption exists, on the one hand, in order to maintain international stability and safeguard states against temporary disturbances, and on the other hand, in order to prevent people from becoming stateless and to ensure their right to self-determination.
You talk about the situation in Somalia, for example, and situations that continue for a considerable period of time. But the question is, will your island ever re-emerge? Will the situation remain as is?
Madam President, the island isn't deemed to re-emerge. However, under the Montevideo Convention, no particular territorial locus is necessary. Therefore, the situation would be deemed temporary, as long as it is not deemed that Alferna will not, in any point in time, gain control over any territory. If I may, the International Law Commission has recognized in 1996 that the principles of the UN Charter, which include human rights and the right to self-determination, are relevant to the question of whether an entity is a state. Accordingly, when loss of statehood would harm these principles, statehood is examined more leniently. Under paragraph 45 of the Compromis, the Alfernans will not have finutafuan citizenship. Therefore, the loss of Alfernan statehood would lead to the loss of a nationality and the loss of their right to self-determination. As can be seen by paragraph 44 of the Compromis, even if Nasatima Island is not deemed to fulfill the territory criterion, Alferna has persisted without a territory for merely a year, which does not constitute a permanent loss. Therefore, statehood was not lost with the submergence of Batri and Njili. If
Nasatima Island, if the arrangement there did not exist, where would be the location of the state of Alferna?
Your Excellency, if Nasatima Island is not deemed to fulfill the territory criterion under the Montevideo Convention, then it would still be a territorial base where the Alfernans could, in the meantime, in this temporary situation, persist, just as Somalia has persisted without an effective government, and as stated in the 1997 Salah Sheikh versus the Netherlands case before the European Court of Human Rights, because they are expected to have a government sometime in the future. Therefore, if Nasatima Island were not a territory, Alferna would persist so long as it is expected that at some point they would be able to gain control over a territory. However, if the presumption of continuity is not accepted by this honorable court, then Alferna does maintain that on Nasatima Island they do fulfill all of the Montevideo criteria. As stated by Ambassador Jessup, in order for a state to possess territory, there must be some land which its people inhabit and over which its government exercises authority. Additionally, As can be seen by the 2008 Pedro Branca case before this court, leases may grant sovereignty as ownership is not as distinct from sovereignty.